Yesterday, we talked about the 25 people that were killed in the fires and explosions and riots and protests in Independence Square in Kiev, Ukraine. Incredibly, I woke up this morning and thought I was seeing recycled headlines, but no, 22 more people have been found dead as a so-called truce has obviously failed. That makes at least 50 people now total who have died this week in the different clashes in Kiev. That's as reported by the Associated Press. And this has been after we had the protests start several months ago. And then it seemed like things were calming down and going in the direction of some kind of a compromise. And then this happens and it's a complete reversal. And President Viktor Yanukovych and the opposition leaders who are demanding his resignation are locked in really, now it's a month-long protest, but it's really a year after year after year battle over the identity of Ukraine. Is Ukraine going in the direction of more influence from Russia and Vladimir Putin, or are they going more in the direction of the European Union and Western Europe? The protests are primarily from individuals who want a closer alignment with the EU rather than with Russia. And we are seeing urban street battles. We are seeing bodies laid out on the streets around these encampments in central Kiev. And late yesterday, Yanukovych met with opposition leaders and they called for a truce and a new round of negotiations. The truce call had zero credibility. The hardcore protesters did not change what they were doing at all. One protest camp commander told the AP that even after the truce call, protesters continued throwing firebombs at riot police. When you throw firebombs at riot police in Eastern Europe, you're probably not going to have a good time.
Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster. Things are getting crazy here, but I can understand if I were living in the Ukraine and my government was trying to decide between being buddy-buddy with Russia or joining what I would consider to be the clear and obvious choice of joining the European Union.
And again, it's not joining the EU, but just a closer trade alignment.
It could end in becoming a part of Europe.
It could.
Yeah. I think it's pretty obvious which direction I would head in there, and I would be angry about it if my leaders wanted to just be buddy-buddy with Putin.
Well, we've received a lot of emails about this. And yes, most of the emails we receive agree with Lewis that Ukraine would be much better off aligning more closely with the EU than with Russia. But along the lines of reactions in general to Kiev and to Venezuela, which we'll talk about in a second, one reaction has been, well, listen, this is only happening in countries like Ukraine and Venezuela because they're less civilized. The people have less to lose by protesting in the streets, so they protest like this, and this is actually a bad thing. Another view is actually, David, this is happening because the people in these countries are far more engaged politically and socially with what's going on in the country, and the increased awareness is leading to people being more willing to hit the streets. Too many people in the U.S. aren't willing to really protest like this because they don't even know what is going on. Two very different views as to what is behind the willingness to activate like this. And we won't comment on it today. I'm going to wait to hear from some more of our audience, and then we'll discuss that. I think it's an interesting, very opposing views from many members of our audience.